Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2022-2023, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 76 years of independence. United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030. As part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. And this week is also commemorated as National Geographic Week, or it is also commemorated as Geography Week across the world. So as part of Geography Week, we also commemorated yesterday, that is 15th November, as GIS Day. And we have seen various applications where GIS technologies play a prominent and significant role in various sectors. Today, we will see some of the commemorations for the day, then we'll move on to exploring GIS technologies in various domains. So today, we are commemorating World Philosophy Day. By celebrating World Philosophy Day, each year, on the third Thursday of November, UNESCO underlines the enduring value of philosophy for the development of human thought for each culture and for each individual. Philosophy is an inspiring discipline as well as an everyday practice that can transform societies by enabling to discover the diversity of the intellectual currents in the world. Philosophy stimulates intercultural dialogue by awakening minds to the exercise of thinking and the reasoned confrontation of opinions. Philosophy helps to build a more tolerant, more respectful society. It thus helps to understand and respond to major contemporary challenges by creating the intellectual conditions for change. So on this day of collective exercise in free, reasoned, and informed thinking on the major challenges of our time, all of the UNESCO's partners are encouraged to organize various types of activities, philosophical dialogues, debates, conferences, seminars, webinars, workshops, cultural events, and presentations around the general theme of the day. With the participation of philosophers and scientists from all branches of natural and social sciences, educators, teachers, students, press, journalists, and other mass media representatives, and the general public. World Philosophy Day belongs to everyone, everywhere who cares about philosophy. So UNESCO leads it, but does not own it. In order to build a better world, to move towards an ideal of peace, we know that we must adopt a physiological, more than physiological approach, philosophical approach. Namely, we must question So, in order to build a better world to move towards an ideal of peace, we know that we must adopt a philosophical approach, namely, we must question the flaws of our world beyond the tumult of crisis. Philosophy is therefore essential when it comes to defining the ethical principles that should guide humanity. So the management of social transformation program, in short known as MOST, cooperates with the academic networks to support the production of creative new ideas. The program also works with governments to promote reference to humanistic thinking in responding to social transformations. The humanities are crucial in fostering understanding of culture and shedding light on social transformations. They offer key input on such most priorities as social inclusion and sustainable development. Managing social transformations is not only about technical solutions, it is also about imagining creative alternatives. In this work of imagination, the disciplines of the humanities have a key role to play. Philosophy, which is part of the humanities, questions every dimension of the human life. UNESCO has always been closely linked to philosophy, which is defined as the school of freedom, is one of its major publications. Through critical questioning, philosophy gives meaning to life and action in the international context. The link between philosophy and UNESCO stems from the inquiry of the possibility of and necessary conditions for the establishment of long-term peace and security in the world. Through its intellectual work, in dialogue with other humanities, disciplines, and social sciences, philosophy contributes to institutional responses to the issues of social transformation, reflecting the pluralism of experience and cultures across the world. The humanities and philosophy deal not only with the traditional legacy derived from the past cultures and times, but also with the challenges the world is currently facing. The plurality of identities, languages, migration, environmental change, critical thinking on theory, action, and policies, these legacies and dynamics nurture inventive approaches to social change. Today is also commemorated as various others day. So the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization has another commemoration today. As we have seen, World Philosophy Day is being commemorated today, and the UNESCO proclaimed it an international day. We illuminate the path of philosophers and educationists of today by connecting them to the world. Philosophy delivers and dwells into the concepts of existence, knowledge, values the mind, language, and the reason, and has evolved throughout history. Philosophy has certainly shaped our present world and will mold and transform our future world societies. Therefore, it is only befitting that UNESCO institutionalized World Philosophy Day in 2005. In 2007, UNESCO published a 726-page multilingual in Arabic, Chinese, English, French, Russian, and Spanish program and meeting document on the records of General Conference, 33rd session, Paris 2005. This was the proclamation of World Philosophy Day. In launching World Philosophy Day in 2005, UNESCO emphasized that philosophy is vital to young people and a discipline that inspires the objective analysis and evaluation of issues to make a judgment. World Philosophy Day boosts the development of independent critical rational thinking, which leads to an improved understanding of the world, encouraging peace and forbearance. The UNESCO General Conference in 2005 had the conviction that embedding the concept of World Philosophy Day in society would popularize philosophy, particularly in teaching to the world. After the day's first celebration in 2002, UNESCO deemed it imperative to institutionalize the celebration of philosophical reflection the world over in 2005. This annual festivity supports people worldwide to participate and share their respective cultural legacies for authentic and peaceful synchronicity in the world. So Western philosophy begins with the tales of Meletus in 6th century BC. And the Indian philosophy is as old as, and Eastern Indian philosophy and Eastern philosophy is as old as the humankind. The first celebration of World Philosophy Day was in 2022. UNESCO introduces World Philosophy Day on November 21, 2002. UNESCO proclaims the annual celebration of World Philosophy Day and institutionalizes World Philosophy Day in 2005. This day is immediately followed celebration of International Day for Tolerance in the past and the present in 2016. So today, we are also commemorating International Day for Tolerance, which is also commemorated by UNESCO and promoted by UNESCO. So there are 7 types of philosophical studies. You may be wondering how, what would be the different types of philosophy. So we have 7 types of philosophical studies. Of course, there are various other also. These are broadly recognized, much popular, and established philosophical studies: metaphysics, axiology, logic, aesthetics, epistemology, ethics, and political philosophy. So Socrates is known as the father of Western philosophy and for his contributions to the development of ancient Greek philosophy. Sophie's World by Justin Gardner, A History of Western Philosophy by Bertrand Russell, Philosophy, The Basics by Nigel Warburton, and The Story of Philosophy by Will Durant are some books to get started with Western philosophy. In Indian philosophy, you can refer to ancient scriptures that will give you a lot of insights into the philosophical aspects of Indian philosophy or Eastern philosophy. So participate in workshops, cultural events, online and offline, and events like this in collaboration with academic institutions, government, and organizations. UNESCO arranges various activities such as philosophical dialogues, debates, conferences, workshops, webinars, cultural events, and presentations showcasing the theme of the World Philosophy Day for that year. So everybody is welcome to celebrate and commemorate this occasion. You can also celebrate at home if you are not able to attend any event, either online or offline. You can use thinking sheets, visual philosophy recitals, and posters, which you can relish on your own or share with your friends and people around the world on any social media platform or through online. You can even celebrate by reading a book, watching a movie or series on philosophy. Actively participate and join UNESCO's planned activities and various events organized by various organizations, institutions, NGOs across the world, and events for this year's celebration at international, national, and local levels. You can participate in activities with philosophers and scientists from innumerable social and natural sciences, media, legislatures, teachers, students, and the general community. There are also exhibitions, book launches, fairs, and philosophy caves, among other exciting and educational happenings. The earliest philosophers, the first philosopher is Thales, and Aristotle and Plato are considered two of the earliest, most famous philosophy intellectuals. UNESCO introduced philosophy as a tool to encourage the ethos of international culture of philosophical debates that complements human self-respect and diversity. The first World Philosophy Day was held at the headquarters of UNESCO in Paris. In 2010, the celebration was outshone by an organized boycott of academies from all over the world, saying that celebrating in Tehran would risk turning the festivity into political propaganda for vicious administration. UNESCO proclaimed, institutionalized, and leads World Philosophy Day, but philosophy belongs to everyone who cares about philosophy. So every person can share their philosophical heritage. It is not just about a celebration of or commemorating fun activities. It's a platform that encourages people to enthusiastically voice out their philosophical thoughts on ancient and contemporary issues and understand the world better. This greatly aids in the peaceful coexistence of diverse people all over the world. World Philosophy Day spreads the knowledge of the vital role of philosophy and its importance in the choices arising for many civilizations and globalization or access into future world. Celebrating the day nurtures philosophical analysis, research, and studies on major current events to respond more efficiently to the challenges experienced these days. Today, as already mentioned, we are also commemorating International Day for Tolerance. International Day of Tolerance is a great opportunity for you to think back and recall the last time you had a different perspective than one of your friends. So, when's the last time you had to learn something about someone else's culture? We are betting it wasn't that long ago. Look and learn the date that celebrates open-mindedness and listening. It was started by the UN General Assembly with the goal of getting educational institutions and the general public to see tolerance as a staple of society. And it came after the United Nations declared a year for tolerance in 1995. In 1995, UNESCO created the Declaration of Principles on Tolerance as a way to define and provide awareness of tolerance for any and all governing and participating bodies. That day in 1995 was November 16th. Now, as an anniversary of the declaration, we celebrate the International Day for Tolerance every November 16th to help spread tolerance and raise awareness of any tolerance that still may be prevalent in the world today. Although we should be tolerant every day, it always good to have one occasion to remind us how important tolerance is. Additionally, UNESCO created an award to recognize those with great achievements in promoting the spirit of tolerance or non-violence in fields such as science, culture, and the arts. The UNESCO Madanjit Singh Prize and the UNESCO's International Day for Tolerance both recognize that tolerance is a universal human right. So Gandhi returns to India from South Africa to help his homeland fight for freedom through non-violence and tolerance. A human rights icon returns in 1950. Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his famous I Have a Dream speech during the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. In 1963, a dream is born. The Civil Rights Act of 1964, which banned discrimination on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, or national origin, is established. In 1964, the Civil Rights Act is enacted. The birthday of the International Day of Tolerance was in 1995, which was created as a way to commemorate the passing of the Declaration of Principles on Tolerance. International Day for Tolerance is important because it helps spread awareness of intolerance and educates how to be more tolerant. A few things the world could really use more of right now. By learning more about tolerance and intolerance and celebrating the difference between cultures, start a conversation with someone with a differing viewpoint. You likely find you have more in common than you expected. The United Nations portal is a great place to start reading up and learn about the history of this day. So November 16 is the International Day of Tolerance, and it has been this day since its inception by the United Nations in 1995. Reading about different cultures or nationalities is one of the best ways to help break down your intolerances that you may not know you have, as well as to help increase your awareness of intolerances throughout the world. In order to celebrate tolerance, you may often need to first make yourself aware of intolerance. Listening to others is a great way to open your perspective and take a better look at the world and how you can perceive it. Tolerance and intolerance can only be identified by listening more to those who may have suffered at the hands of intolerance and hearing what they have to say. If you want to truly help celebrate International Day of Tolerance, the best thing to do is to go out and participate, whether it's a candlelight vigil for the victims of intolerance, or a lecture from an esteemed activist, or throughout or thought leader. Getting out there and getting involved will only help you grow. So on average, 8 black people, 3 white people, 3 gay people, 3 Jewish people, and 1 Latino person became hate crime victims daily. It affects a lot of people regularly. 50% of all hate crimes in the US are committed by people between ages of 15 and 24. So a lot is committed by young people. Every hour in the United States, somebody commits a hate crime. So it's frequent. Race is the main motive in most hate crimes reported, following by sexual orientation and religion. So, race is the largest reason. Hate crime stems from a learned behavior of hatred or one's self taught bias. No one is born with inherent hate, it is learned. So, International Day for Tolerance is a great educational resource to help learn about to be more tolerant person, but also into the intolerances that may still be happening around the world. Inherently based on the idea that humans should come together rather than being divided, International Day for Tolerance is a day to celebrate the differences between cultures and creeds and appreciate what they bring to our lives. International Day of Tolerance is important because although great strides have been made, more work needs to be done to eradicate intolerance throughout the world. By increasing awareness and spreading education on days such as this, it helps play an active role in elimination of intolerance. Tolerance is respect, acceptance, and appreciation of the rich diversity of our world's culture, our forms of expression, and ways of being human. In 1996, the UN General Assembly adopted Resolution 51 by 95, proclaiming 16 November as International Day for Tolerance. This action followed the adoption of Declaration of Principles of Tolerance by UNESCO member states on 16th November 1995. Among other things, the declaration affirms that tolerance is neither indulgence or nor indifference. It is the respect and appreciation of the rich variety of our world's cultures, our forms of expression, and ways of being human. Tolerance recognizes the universal human rights and fundamental freedoms of others. People are naturally diverse, only tolerance can ensure the survival of mixed communities in every region of the globe. So, UNESCO's Madanjit Singh Prize for the Promotion of Tolerance and Nonviolence in 1995 to mark the United Nations Year for Tolerance on the 125th anniversary of the birth of Mahatma Gandhi, UNESCO created a prize for promotion of tolerance and nonviolence. The UNESCO's Madanjit Singh Prize. This prize rewards significant activities in the scientific, artistic, cultural, or communication fields aimed at the promotion of a spirit of tolerance and nonviolence. The creation of this prize has been inspired by the ideals of UNESCO's constitution that proclaims that peace, if it is not to fail, must be founded on the intellectual and moral solidarity of mankind. UNESCO works day to day to defend and promote cultural and linguistic diversity and diversity of knowledge, especially indigenous knowledge, so that all these outlooks and way of seeing the world can open up new vistas for humankind through dialogue and exchange. Today, we are also commemorating World Pancreatic Cancer Day on the third Thursday of November every year. This year it falls on November 16. And we are here to learn how to observe this day. It has been almost 10 years plus since the day was observed for the first time to raise awareness that pancreatic cancer is one of the toughest cancers. This day allows communities to come together to raise awareness and support for the people battling with pancreatic cancer. Since 1960s, the pancreatic cancer survival rates have been stagnant, and pancreatic cancer is considered the fourth leading cause of cancer deaths. World Pancreatic Cancer Day was initiated so people couldn't come together. So that people could come together and help spread the word about pancreatic cancer. So 6 continents, 30 countries, and many health organizations have joined hands to encourage awareness of 6 factors, symptoms, and treatment of pancreatic cancer as a mission to save more lives. Giovanni Battista Morgani discovers pancreatic cancer in 1761, where pancreatic cancer is discovered. So one of the best ways to observe this day is to spread awareness about this disease as much as possible. You can organize an event in your community center to give information or symptoms and prevention of pancreatic cancer. As a sign or symbol of support to the people fighting or those who lost their lives, pancreatic cancer, wear purple. You can also color your office rooms and have purple decorations. There are millions of people affected by pancreatic cancer who need financial support. Donate as much as you can and encourage your friends, family to donate to his cause and help make a difference in the lives of cancer patients. Pancreatic cancer has the highest mortality rate of all major cancers, and it has the highest mortality rate. One of the reasons pancreatic cancer has such a high mortality rate is that there is no tools available to detect it early. One of the reasons pancreatic cancer has such a high mortality rate is that there are no tools available to detect it early. The symptoms of pancreatic cancer may include weight loss, loss of appetite, and nausea. The two types of The symptoms are subtle. The symptoms of pancreatic cancer may include weight loss of appetite, and nausea. There are two types of pancreatic cancer, are neuroendocrine and exocrine, based on the type of cell they started. More than 90% of pancreatic cancer causes are pancreatic adenocarcinoma, in short known as PDAC, that develop in the pancreas exocrine tissue. Pancreatic cancer is said to be fourth leading cause of cancer deaths. This day calls for joining hands on and coming together to fight this disease that makes millions of lives every year. Battling cancer has a huge toll on your body and mind. Apart from this, it takes a huge lit on your savings. Cancer patients often struggle to pay their medical bills, which adds to the tragedy. This day is a reminder to help and support our friends who are going through a difficult time. Of all the types of cancer, pancreatic cancer has the highest mortality rate. So, as early detection of this type of cancer is often impossible, while the survival rates of patients with other types of cancer have gone up. Of all the types of cancer, as we have seen, which has the highest mortality rate, early detection of this type of cancer should be done, while the survival rates of patients with other types of cancers have gone up. The survival rates of pancreatic cancer have not. So many lost their lives to the disease. And World Pancreatic Cancer Day is also a day for homage to these brave figures. Today, we are also commemorating Road Safety Week in US. Road Safety Week held this year from November 16 to 21 in which is the United Kingdom's biggest road safety event. Coordinated annually by road safety charity BREAK, the initiative aims to inspire thousands of schools, organizations, and communities to take action on road safety and promote life-saving messages during the week and beyond. With someone injured on a UK road every 4 minutes, it's vital to come together and spread awareness about speeding during the Road Safety Week. Road Safety Week was founded by the road safety charity BREAK in 1997 as an annual event to raise awareness about the road safety and promote steps that everyone can take to stop needle deaths and injuries year around. In 1995, BRAKE was founded by the former transport journalist Mary Williams with the aim of providing victim support and preventing road deaths and injuries through community and policy oriented campaigns. Mary Williams formed BRAKE with aims of victim support and preventing road deaths and injuries through campaigns that were both community and policy oriented. She was awarded the Oak Order of the British Empire for her services to road safety in 2000. In September 2014, BRAKE organized an online webinar for European countries. They aim to promote Road Safety Week as a fun and engaging way to get life-saving road safety messages out to the public and help prevent road death and injury. The free webinar showed that road safety organizers do and how Road Safety Week impacts the road safety in their country or locality. 1.35 million people die on the world's roads each year, and many more suffer a serious injury. Road traffic injuries are the leading killer of children and young adults aged between 5 to 29 years. Many of the world road deaths involve a vehicle being driven for work. Not only this, work vehicles cause extensive pollution. This is why the United Nations marked its first UN Global Road Safety Week in 2007 to reduce the road traffic fatalities. Mary Williams spoke at the 5th United Nations Global Safety Week 2019, giving us renewed opportunity to the leaders for the safe and healthy mobility. Now, Road Safety Week in UK is a time where all sorts of people get involved. Nurseries, schools, youth clubs, army bases, community campaigners, employers, sports club, fire officers, police services, local authorities, paramedics, and driving instructors. Various interactive activities are available in the neighborhoods and online to promote life-saving messages about the road safety. So Road Safety Week launches their 2020 theme, No Need for Speed, as a reminder to everyone of how the speed they travel affects other people in 2020. Mary Williams Oak speaks in the lead up to 5th United Nations Global Safety Week, acknowledging that strong leadership is needed to advance road safety and communities in 2019. Promoting abroad, BRAKE organizes an online webinar for European countries aiming to promote Road Safety Week as a fun and engaging way to get life-saving road safety messages out to the public in 2014. Mary Williams, the founder of the BRAKE and Road Safety Week, is awarded the Oak Order of the British Empire for her services to road safety in 2000. So Road Safety Week is founded by road safety charity BRAKE as an annual event to raise awareness about road safety to prevent needless deaths and injuries in 1997. So on 15 2010, India's Union Cabinet approved the National Road Safety Policy based on the Sundar Committee's recommendation in a report it submitted in February 2007. So it is very important to be aware that the road traffic injuries remain an important public health problem. When the road safety products are utilized correctly or efficiently, they can help save lives, prevent accidents, injuries, and keep society functioning most optimally. the UN Road Safety Collaboration announced the theme of 5th UN Global Safety Week, quoting leadership for road safety. The goal of the week, which was held from 6th to 11th May 2019, was to generate demand from the public for longer leadership for road safety worldwide. Now, fundraise for help break support people affected by road crashes and campaigns for safe and healthy mobility for everyone by fundraising during Road Safety Week. And in every nation, there might be an organization that is working towards road safety. So fundraising is a great way to support them and to promote road safety within your community. So you could do something as simple as organizing a bake sale or go to town by setting a team building day with a charitable focus. For inspiration, you can read about how people got involved in previous years during Road Safety Week or take a look at evaluation reports available online. Road Safety Week is your week, so what you do is your choice. This week also focuses on different ways and creative ideas people use to spread vital life-changing messages in their community. So next time you are driving, it's vital to be aware of your speed, even if you are in a rush. Consider slowing down and ensure you are abiding by the speed limit because it can literally save lives. So UK road every day, on average, 5 people are killed and 64 are seriously injured on UK roads. 1.35 million people die on the world's roads each year and 50 million are injured, which is a global issue. Road accidents are leading cause of death around the world for people aged 15 to 29, taking the young. The most dangerous form of a transport is motorcycles, with 112.3 deaths per billion miles traveled compared to 2.0 deaths per billion miles for people who go by the car. So the first pedestrian killed by a car in the UK was Bridget Driscoll, 44, of Croydon in 1896. Curiously, her almost namesake, Bridget O'Driscoll, was a Titanic survivor in 1912. So, Road Safety Week is important as it saves lives. Road safety is something important that must be followed at all times to ensure the safety of the operations of the vehicle, passengers, and pedestrians. Traffic rules and guidelines have been set in place so that serious injuries and deaths can be averted. It brings together the community. Fundraising is a great way to promote road safety within your community while also helping a vital cause that saves lives on the road. Make sure to join your local school or various organizations in spreading awareness about road safety while also participating in fun events. Road Safety Week not only inspires thousands of schools, organizations, and communities to take action on road safety, it also allows professionals working in road safety to boost awareness of the risks involved while working on the road. Site teams carry out surveys on the risks and dangers of working on the highways as well as detailed risk assessments. Road Safety Week reinforces their commitment to stay safety on the roads. Today is also commemorated as Social Enterprise Day, which is commemorated on third Thursday, November falling on November 16 this year. It is a part of Global Entrepreneurship Week. Social entrepreneurs are organizers that work to improve the environment and enhances the lives of those less fortunate. But are they non-profits or are they profit-making enterprises? They can be either one or a blend of both structures. Regardless of the business model, social enterprise help us view companies differently. They show us the organizations can generate revenue and also do meaningful work. Why shouldn't the two come together after all? On Social Enterprise Day, we celebrate trailblazers who revolutionize what we know about the business and social impact. Although it became popular a few decades ago, the concept of social enterprises isn't new. The idea and meaning may have changed through time, but its spirit remains intact. History has shown us some of the finest examples of social entrepreneurship. People who initiated ideas to eradicate social problems or bring positive change or positive social change. Florence Nightingale was one of the earliest social entrepreneurs. She venerated in history books as an angel. While those accounts are correct, we must never forget how she founded the world's first nursing school in the West. Nightingale developed nursing practices as we know them today, and she was also a brilliant statistician in the West. On the other side of the globe, Vinoba Bhave, the founder of the land gift movement in India, implemented a remarkable land reform movement. It was a movement where she persuaded India's wealthy landowners to voluntarily hand over a percentage of their estate to the landless. Robert Owen, considered the founder of cooperative movement, believed in a world co-created by equals. He walked the talk by setting up a model business community where profits and social equality harmoniously coexisted. The social entrepreneurs were driving change long before the term became part of the 19th century management discourse. Contrary to popular opinion, social enterprises aren't always non-profits. Most social enterprises aim to be financially self-sustainable. The idea is for good work to continue without depending largely on donations or state support. Social Enterprise Day encompasses all companies with a social or environmental mission. Organizations such as Goodwill, Me2We, and Bab and Gona immediately come to mind. The idea that business and philanthropy can coexist is still an unimaginable concept, and never the two shall meet in 1800s. So a Methodist minister collects old items, repairs them, and resells items to the underprivileged at reasonable rates, which is the beginnings of Goodwill in 1902. So the idea of education changes forever. In Italy, Dr. Maria Montessori introduces a revolutionary child-centered education model in 1907. An era of new ideas facilitates the emergence of non-for-profit social enterprises when philanthropy and business meet in 2010. So social enterprises are businesses with a social or environmental mission. They make profits like traditional business, but what sets them apart is what they do with these profits. Social enterprises reinvest or donate most profits to create positive social change. One who does business based on its influence on society and the environment are sociopreneur. So social enterprise can be both charity or a private company. It is a business that works for profits and a host of specific social or environmental objectives. So support social enterprises. If you know any company in your area serving the public good, show them some extra love today. Buy their products and offers words of encouragement. Social Enterprise Day is an opportunity to volunteer at local groups. Look up a place closer to you and call ahead to find out how to help. Getting the word out is half the battle won for resource-strapped enterprises. Helping them out by sharing their work on social media or buy their products and give them to family and friends. Social Enterprises Day celebrates revolutionary thinking. It forces us to re examine what we have known all along about charity and business. In questioning old ideas, we open ourselves to a world of new possibilities. Perhaps we can make money by doing good. As a result, people's aspirations and goals should change or could change, and the world may be a better off it. Social enterprises inspire us, their commitment to the planet and its people is commendable. It's hard to look beyond ourselves some days, but today we are reminded that everyone can do better. So today is also commemorated as National Rural Health Day in the US. Over 60 million Americans live and work in seemingly idyllic rural communities, but life gets challenging when the illness or pregnancy forces you to travel greater distances or to see a doctor or to get to a hospital if the local one closed due to lack of funding. National Rural Health Day on November 16th, an annual event on the third Thursday each November, helps us focus on the state of rural healthcare. We celebrate the providers, healthcare professionals, and community leaders who keep the spirit of small town America alive in the best way possible. It was an apparent that rural areas needed additional healthcare services, but lack of financial resources kept many public health nurses from getting adequate training outside of the cities. In 1920s, the Social Security Act made an all-out effort to extend health services to mothers and children in rural areas, which resulted in lower maternal and infant mortality rates. In 1935, taking baby steps. The state offices of Rural Health Grant Program has since become a major player as a support system for rural communities. In 1991 was a breakthrough. The Opioid Crisis Response Act in 2018 led to the funding for healthcare providers and other resources aimed at rural communities struggling to meet the needs of those with substance abuse disorders. So do something to make yourself feel good. If you are lucky enough to live outside the city, get some friends together and do some hiking or off-road bicycling, or maybe even a peaceful walk. After all, focusing on healthy living is a big part of this day. Plan a group run, bicycle ride, or hit the trail. Sometimes just a simple thank you will do. On National Rural Health Day, call or visit your local healthcare providers and let them know how much you appreciate everything they do for you. These doctors, nurses, midwives, and behavioral health professionals worry about you more than you know. Advocacy is the biggest part of National Rural Health Day. If you write something important or creative enough, it may go viral. Then you are hitting an even bigger audience than originally intended. Get your voice out there and let everybody know that rural communities need love too. So, only 10% of physicians have practices in rural communities, despite the fact that nearly 25% of the US population lives outside of cities. So there aren't enough doctors. Children are suffering. About 24% of children in rural settings are battling poverty. Within the past 25 years, more than 470 rural hospitals have shut down due to loss of funding. There aren't enough hospitals. Almost 20% of the rural countries lack mental health services compared with only 5% of metropolitan countries. There aren't enough mental health services. Hypertension affects rural settings more. Factors such as isolation, increased poverty, and overall aging may be some of the reasons why hypertension is significantly higher in rural areas. Sometimes city dwellers forget that there is a whole other world outside of urban centers. National Rural Health Day is an opportunity for everyone to salute the unsung heroes of rural communities, the hospitals, healthcare professionals, and other providers who keep rural communities going despite diminishing resources, population loss, and the ravages of the opioid crisis. Outside of the picture postcard beauty of many rural communities, there's a war raging. Lack of reimbursements by Medicare and Medicaid for services rendered, especially during the current opioid crisis, is literally shutting down hospitals. The few hospitals that remain open are having a hard time training and retaining quality surgeons and physicians. Many doctors either age out or transition from providing general surgical care to specialized care, meaning returning to the cities that can pay the high salaries for the level of skilled surgical expertise. National Rural Health Day highlights the poverty's impact on the healthcare system in rural communities. The average income for rural residents is about 25% less than the income for urban Americans. The escalating opioid crisis, the closure of manufacturing, farming, mining, and other business mean younger people either leave the area or suffer from behavioral health issues. Rural communities of color often live in food deserts, areas without stores, selling fresh produce or other perishables, which contributes to high rates of hypertension and cardiovascular problems. So, as we are talking about, various aspects of using less stuff and recycle, reuse, reduce to avoid pollution and wastage of resources which are limited in nature. Today is commemorated as Use Less Stuff Day in US. So this day was created to spread awareness about the clutter of unnecessary things in our homes, especially during one of the busiest shopping months of the year. It encourages people to adopt a minimalist lifestyle where only essentials are bought or kept. In the 50s, minimalist art rose to prominence and a minimalist design and architecture grew popular. Japan shifted towards making homes that did not require expensive materials and was reduced to basic elements. Life was chaotic and crowded in cities, and people wanted to simplify by buying fewer things and utilizing as little space as possible. During the season, especially holiday season, especially after Thanksgiving, people produced huge amounts of trash and realized that they needed to do something to manage this problem. So people were encouraged by the government and local authorities to use fewer things and reduce waste as much as possible. Use Less Stuff Day was a campaign initiated towards making people realize how often we buy things that we don't use and how it leads to more waste generation resulting in environment pollution. Tons of plastic waste are found in ocean beds and it is serious threat to marine life. This day was created to remind us that we get caught up with the latest trends and lifestyles very often. And we want the latest phones, gadgets, and computers, even clothing. And even though we have it at home that works completely fine, this leads to our houses getting clogged with unnecessary things left untouched or thrown in trash. So less is more. In 1947, architect Ludwig Mies van der Rohe popularizes the concept of less is more in 1947. Minimalistic architecture and design rise to prominence, and minimalism begins in 1950s. People begin to realize the importance of reducing wastage and saving the environment. In 1980s, Use Less Stuff Day, a campaign to encourage people to use essential things only and reduce wastage, is initiated in 2000s. Cloth napkins, cloth shopping bags, and reusable glass bottles are some of the eco-friendly products available. While using less stuff affect one's productivity? No, using less stuff doesn't mean you compromise on things you need in life. This whole point of Use Less Stuff Day is to reduce wastage. If there's something you think it is essential, by all means, go get it. Many companies like Google, Dell, Tesla Motors encourage eco-friendly practices and are strong advocates of Use Less Stuff Day practices. So this holiday season is a time for get-togethers and bonding, and unfortunately, it is also a time where we clutter our houses with lots of excess food, gifts, and other things. Take a pledge on this day to consciously reduce consumption and wastage. So go electronic. This season gives e-cards to your friends and relatives instead of physical cards, which indirectly contributes to felling of lot of trees, cutting down and deforestation. So go cashless, use electronic wallets, e-wallets, virtual e-wallets wherever possible. Plastic bottles are a threat to the environment in many ways because the non-biodegradable bottles get to the ocean beds and stay there for hundreds of years. Take a pledge to take glass bottle or metal bottles or reusable bottles and reduce plastic as much as possible. It takes 450 years to decompose plastics or plastic bottles. Plastic bags and bottles kill 1.1 million birds and animals every year. Plastic is made from petroleum oil, which is non-renewable fossil fuel. Plastic takes 22 gallons of water to make a pound of plastic. 40% of the plastic is used only for a few minutes before it is thrown away, so it is rarely used more than once. We often buy things just for the sake of it and don't use them ever again. This day serves as a reminder to use only the essential things and reduce consumption as much as possible. It is a reminder to reduce our consumption. It is a reminder to be responsible citizens. A lot of trash we produce finds its way to the ocean beds, where sea animals eat it and choke on it. This day calls for taking responsibility towards creating a greener and cleaner earth. With the blooming of crowded cities and trees, the idea of less is more is becoming more popular than ever. This day encourages people to use only essential things and motivates people to reduce unnecessary spending. So today is also commemorated as Bhai Dooj, which is a prominent festival when women pray to gods for long and prosperous lives for their brothers. It is celebrated 2 days after the popular festival of Diwali. It is known by various names in different parts of India like Bhau Beej, Bhai Tika, or Bhai Pota. The festival is very similar to Raksha Bandhan as it celebrates the love between a brother and sister. While sisters perform traditional rituals and pray for the brother's well being, brothers vow to protect sisters. This underlying spirit of piety, love, and care is a unified notion that resonates throughout us all. Nowhere is a brother sister bond glorified so ceremoniously as in India. On this day, women invite their brothers home and apply tika or tilak on their foreheads and offer prayers to the gods, and the brothers present their sisters with gifts in return. Gifts may not be always in materialistic. It can be the protection or the blessings or prayers. Hindu mythology also mentions about Bhai Dooj and has various legends associated to it. Yamraj, the god of death, visited his sister on this day, and his sister Yami, who is also known as Yamuna, welcomed him with an arti, a light offering, and after applying tilak on his forehead, offered him sweets. In return, Yamraj presented his sister with a gift that signified his love and affection towards her. Moved by his sister's love, Yamraj declared that any brother who would receive an arti and tilak from his sister on this day should never be afraid of death. So, this story is also the reason behind the festival being called Yam Dvitiya in some parts of the country. The story is also the reason behind the festival being called Yam Dvitiya and by other names. Another popular legend for the festival is that Krishna's sister Subhadra welcomed him with an arti and tilak, sweets and flowers after he killed the demon king Narakasur. Krishna, one of the most widely revered and popular of all Hindu divinities, is worshipped as the eighth incarnation of the Hindu god Lord Vishnu and also as a supreme god in his own right. He is also seen to be part of the Bhai Dooj origin stories in Hinduism, according to few. So, in the Kastya community, two Bhai Doods are celebrated. The more famous one comes on the second day after Diwali, but the lesser known one is celebrated a day or two after Holi. On the festival, sisters invite brothers for a sumptuous meal, often including their favorite dishes, sweets. The procedure may be different in Bihar and central India and in other parts of the India and across the world. The whole ceremony signifies the duty of a brother to protect his sister as well as a sister's blessings for her brother. The sister whose brother lives far away from her and cannot go to her house sends her sincerest prayers for the long and happy life of her brother through the moon god. She performs arti for the moon. This is the reason why children of Hindu parents affectionately call the moon Chandamama. Chanda means moon and Mama means mother's brother. So Bhai Dooj is a Hindu festival that celebrates the love between brother and sister. On this occasion, women pray to gods for long and prosperous lives for their brothers, which is celebrated 2 days after Diwali. The celebrations, as already mentioned, of Bhai Dooj are very similar to Raksha Bandhan, where on this day sisters pray for a long and prosperous life for their brothers, and brothers give blessings to their sisters along with gifts. Bhai Dooj is also celebrated to commemorate Krishna's sister Subhadra's loving gesture towards her brother. So wish you the days that bring you happiness infinite and a life that's prosperous and bright. May this Bhai Dooj strengthen our bond more than ever and bring joy and prosperity. So happy Bhai Dooj to everyone and best wishes for Bhai Dooj for all my brothers and sisters. Celebrating the brother-sister bond, Bhai Dooj is all about the spirit of love and care. Brothers and sisters often share. Even if you are not a Hindu, it doesn't matter. Make sure you show your brother or sister just how much they mean to you. If you are a Hindu, it's a spiritual time of faith and devotion to partake in. Even if you are not, this is a day to celebrate the bond between a brother and sister. So the mythical origins of Bhai Dooj are quite beautiful and sentimental, and ancient stories or legends of how a bond between a brother and sister can bring so much light into the world. So be sure to read up on a sacred part of the world's oldest and the first religion, that is Hinduism, and discuss with your friends or family the meaning behind this touching religious narration. So today, let's rejoice and cherish the moments of the day with this wonderful bond where both the genders feel respected and valued. So on Bhai Dooj, sisters apply tilak or tika on the foreheads of their brothers and pray for their prosperity. Sisters also keep fast and prepare delicious food items for their brother and eat after feeding their brothers. So the brothers in return give blessings, gifts to their sisters and promise to protect them from every evil force. So considering participating in this beautiful act, if you are a Hindu or want to learn more about Hinduism, or even if you are not a Hindu, you can protect your sister and take a promise on this wonderful day and occasion. We can also look at the greatest, the great Hindu traditions. In Hindu culture, people greet each other by joining their palms. The general reason behind this tradition is greeting by joining both the palms means respect. Scientifically speaking, pressing both hands is said to activate the pressure points, which helps us remember that person for a long time. So there is a scientific reason and logic and rationale for every act, for every ritual, for every festival in Hinduism. But unfortunately, the present generations or the previous generations or the upcoming generations are unfortunately are lacking this scientific knowledge behind these rituals, celebrations, commemorations. And slowly we are losing our ancient knowledge and traditions, our wisdom, because of which we are falling prey to various diseases, illness, and ill practices. So it's always as that ancient wisdom, knowledge has come and have been time tested from generations to generations, from years to years, from thousands of years, and it's still valid today. That means that knowledge has to be promoted and has to be carried forward for the betterment of the humanity. Otherwise, the more disasters we see in the form of climate change, we see in the form of epidemics, and all because we are ignorant, we lack those knowledge, those ancient practices we are no longer following. Even we are following, we are not understanding the reason, science, logic behind it. So what we do, like we recently celebrated Diwali, where we have to use earthen lamps. And now the upcoming Purnami is also coming, Kartika Purnami, and this entire Kartika month is also where every day lamps are lit in the houses and in the outdoors as well. So generally what people are using without understanding the science and logic behind it, people are started using lighting lamps, candles and all. Candles produce a lot of toxicants which are harmful to not only human beings, but also to animals. And electricity, you are wasting lots of energy. And also there are various, most of this electricity is consumed or produced by usage of fossil fuels, which are non-renewable sources. Even if it is renewable, it takes millions and millions of years, which is quite large for the replenishment. So now we are on the verge of extinction of even fossil fuels. So what is mentioned in the ancient scriptures is a clay lamp, a lamp or a diya made by clay. We have to use, and we have to use cotton wick, not this nylon threads or polyester threads or the fancy threads that we use. Why we are using them? Today we are using porcelain, we are using plastic, we are using, all these things because we lack the traditional knowledge, science, rational behind them. We stopped reading ancient scriptures, we stopped listening to elders, and without that, simply blinding. We see, even not only just in Hinduism, we see Christians, how many candles they burn every day, how much pollution they are creating in the name of God. Not only, so every religion, it's not naming Hindu religion or, a Christian religion for burning daily candles. How many candles are burned? Can you imagine how much pollution they are creating? How much toxins in the form of burning candles they are releasing into the environment, and what kind of impact that is creating on the climate change, how much impact it is creating to the greenhouse gases. So without understanding the science, when you are doing this, even in the name of the God, you will not get the blessings of God, but you will also you will get the curse of the God and the nature and the environment. Now, this is a kind of stupidity. Unfortunately, the science or the so-called scientists or the science intellectuals are turning a blind eye to such things because they are worried if they talk on that, they will face the consequences. But today, because of that mundane act or the, ignorance of burning lakhs and lakhs of candles every day, who is paying? Each citizen of the planet, each person on the planet, each living being on the planet is paying for it because of toxins released into the air, because of the greenhouse gases that are building up, because of the pollution. Entire world is paying for that. Those who are burning, those who are not burning also have to pay for that. So, keeping aside everything, one has to be rationally, logically, without any bias, without any prejudice. We have to celebrate festivals. And we also see a lot of trash generated, as we have seen Thanksgiving Day, Halloween Day, how much trash we generate. And what is the use of that? You are polluting the nature, you are polluting the environment, and you are saying that you are happily celebrating. Celebrating for what? For destroying environment, for destroying nature, for creating waste, and where that waste will go? It is dumped into the landfills, it is dumped into the oceans, and you are happy celebrating like stupid and fools. What better word we can call ourselves? Are we intellectuals? Are we literates who have no concern about the nature environment? We need to ponder on these things. When we call ourselves as educated, when we call ourselves as literate, when we call ourselves the intellectuals, we need to work, we need to rethink on what kind of practices we are following. Even the GIS technologies we talk about, we see how the environment is changing because of the waste that is generated by the human beings, how forests are getting affected, how the flora and fauna is being affected across the world, how the water resources are getting polluted, how the land, soil are getting polluted and affected. We are able to discuss and foresee these practices. So blindly following any practice without understanding the science will create more harm. That is what happening. Unfortunately, in the name of religions, especially where religious practitioners, because they are very huge in number. We have the top population representing Christians and the second highest population in Islam and the third highest population in Hindus across the world in the world statistics. Now you can imagine how much pollution, how much waste, how much disaster is being created through certain rituals, certain practices across the world without understanding science behind it and just blindly saying something and creating trash and pollution. Even God will also not bless us. God will also curse us because we all are created by the God, even animals, plants, and also human beings. If one of his creation is affected by other creation, God will be happy? Because today is also commemorated as World Philosophy Day, we also need to think in a philosophical angle, perspective, where we all belongs to one family and this planet is our home. and we all are members of this planet, being part of one family, and where one member of the family of the planet is destroying other members, will the mother be happy? Will the God be happy? Even if you conduct such things in the name of the God, he will never be happy. And you will never receive the grace, but you will receive the sins. And you will commit more sins. That's why more disasters are happening today. Because in the name of God, you are abusing the nature, abusing the God also. So we have to be question everything when we do. It's not just blindly following something. And fear should not be a factor to simply blindly follow something. Especially if you look at the Hinduism, the oldest and the first religion of the world, it always promotes questioning. Without questioning, it will not believe anything, and it encourages everyone to question. Why that questioning? Because you will learn from that questioning. But when we look at other religions or other belief systems, you cannot question. If you question, that's all. End of your life or end of your this thing. We have seen many people who have been killed because they have questioned the authorities, they have questioned the religion, they have questioned the belief system. But can we call this as a freedom? Are we not becoming slaves of such belief systems, such religions, where you cannot even question the authority of such religion or belief systems? Are you not becoming the bonded slaves of such belief systems or such religious systems? So today, being World Philosophical Day, delve into the philosophy of what exactly you are doing and how much clear you are. Are you carried away by the propaganda? Are you carried away by the bias? Are you carried away by the prejudices? Are you carried away by the notions, false notions, by the misinformation, by the disinformation created, promoted by these religious systems or belief systems, which does not allow you freedom to question it, to inquire about it? Then that is not worth practicing, because we all are freedom lovers. We like to enjoy our freedom. We love to question everything and then explore in our own understanding and follow it. If that is not being allowed, then whatever system we are following is not worth following. And by simply blindly following them, you are becoming a bonded slave to that system, and your logic, rational, is lost forever in this process. And we'll also look forward to various other things like applying tika to the forehead. On the forehead between the two eyebrows is a spot that has been considered as a major nerve point. That's why we put the Tiruman, Namam or Tilak on our forehead, because it is the point between two eyes above the nose. It is a major nerve point where nerves meet in human body. So we have understood this science since ancient times. So the red tika between the eyebrows is said to retain energy in the body and also control the various levels of concentration. That's why applying tika to the forehead is very important. It also helps you to concentrate. But we don't understand, we don't put tika also. Nowadays, we are using a lot of, instead of putting that wet tika, we are using stickers. Again, of course, stickers, that too synthetic, chemical based, are again creating lot of skin problems. What it you have to apply Vermilon, or you have to apply any organic material which is eco-friendly, nature-friendly, and also skin-friendly. But unfortunately, what we are putting now, all synthetic or chemical-based, that creates a lot of other problems. And besides lending color to the hands, mehendi is medicinal, is a very powerful medicinal herb that cools the body from stress, which is often why it is used during weddings, on the hands and feet, and celebrations, because they are the nerve endings in our bodies. And applying mehendi before festivals or in celebrations is a common tradition. Why we apply? It's not just for the decoration. Like decorating our function halls or the mandaps, we are not decorating simply our bodies. Like tattoos, we see full tattoos all over the body. Like animals have stripes. Of course, we are social animals. I think many of us are trying to prove that we are still animals, not a fully grown human beings. And maybe it's a lighter moment, on a lighter side. We see a lot of tattoos everywhere. What it serves? Nothing. It's an art, just an art form in various art forms. But it does not serve any purpose. Across whole body, even on the private parts, everywhere these tattoos are put on. But what does it serve? We have to ponder on it. Like mehendi, where we put on the fingers, on the toes, on the hands, because it cools our body. Because mehendi is a herbal and medicinal. That's why this is a problem with the present generation. They don't understand the science. They don't want to understand the science. Because they think whatever is coming from the West is always the best, but that is always the worst. That is creating the problems. So many such ancient knowledge systems or Indian knowledge systems exist. But unfortunately, turning a blind eye to them, we are inviting and we are digging our own graves. So let's see one few more, like sitting on the floor to eat. Now, sitting in the Sukhasana position and then eating is good for digestion, because the yoga pose instantly brings a sense of calm and helps aid digestion. That's why, especially in Hindu tradition or generally, we ask people to sit and eat. Why? Because it helps in digestion. Otherwise, what happens? You will be having a lot of gastric trouble, digestion troubles, and indigestion. All these come up because of you are not at ease while eating, and you are not peaceful. Either you consume more than required, or you consume more unwanted, because when you sit, you wait for the food to be served. And you take whatever you want, because you cannot leave unnecessary want. But otherwise, in the buffet system, what happens? You just fill up everything on the plate. Most of the time, we see even in academic conferences or gatherings also, some people don't eat anything. They keep starving, because they might be thinking what other people might think of. Or otherwise, what happens because of these huge lines, they completely fill up the entire plate and then, throw whichever they like, they eat something, and they doesn't eat like something, they just throw it, waste the food. So this is also some problem where we generate lots of food. So that's why always sitting on the floor or sitting and eating is always better, even if you can't sit on the floor. If you make some sitting arrangement, they will eat slowly, comfortably, and that will help you to digest the food. And fasting, these autophagy, which also won the Nobel Prize, but that is there since long in our ancient Hindu practices. We all do fasting, right? Ekadasi fasting and Saturday fasting, on a lot of days are associated, and we do fasting. And today we are talking about intermittent fasting and all those, because fasting detoxifies our body. There is a great science now. Recently, they got a Nobel Prize also. See, this is lack of our own ancient cultures and traditions. And without proper knowledge, without proper science, without knowledge of science behind it, our own knowledge, it is not the knowledge of others, it's own knowledge given by our forefathers, our sages. And we are losing them. Our generations do not know them, our future generations, only God knows. So what happens when you don't know all these things? You are more prone to illness, you are more prone to diseases, and you are more prone to adapt certain rituals, certain practices where it will cause harm to you, harm to your environment, harm to planet. That is what presently happening. So the underlying principle behind fasting is to be found in Ayurveda. The ancient medicinal system says that the basic cause of many diseases as the accumulation of toxic materials in the digestive system. So Hinduism is an ancient and fascinating religion. In fact, it is the Sanatana Dharma, because the other religions emerged and want to differentiate it from other religions, they named it as Hinduism. Otherwise, there is no such thing as Hinduism, which never existed, because it was Sanatana Dharma, which is the way of life for everyone before any religion existed. Religions were born out of ideological differences, philosophical differences by the human beings, because human beings are free to think and they have their own thoughts, and based on that, their ideologies, their own philosophical beliefs, they divided and created religions. Religions are all created by humans, and without religion, all humans can happily survive. But religions cannot survive without human beings. But most of us, even educated, do not consciously accept it or understand it, and we fight with each other based on religion, based on caste, based on creed. These all are created by human beings. And human beings can happily survive and exist without any of these. So, Hinduism is an ancient, fascinating religion, being the first religion on the planet that dates back to before historians can even put a finger on. It's beyond the imagination of the modern historians. They cannot even think of. So it's a great time to learn more about faith with our Hindu friends, or even just for your own interest and knowledge, irrespective of what religion you belong to. It's always go and read these scriptures, not at least as a religious scriptures, as a storybooks or as a science books. So the whole time, just before, during, and after Diwali is a festive and full of color and light. And the festival of lights, which drives us from darkness to the light. from ignorance to wisdom, knowledge. So this last 5 days festival, today is the 5th day and the last day of festival, which is celebrated in the lunisolar month of Kartika, one of the most popular festivals of the world, symbolizes the spiritual victory of light over darkness, good over evil, and knowledge over ignorance. And this period is of special significance to not only just Hindus and Indians, but also around the globe. So with this, we shall end the commemorations today, and we will look at some other aspects of how, Geography Week and GS technologies can support tomorrow. So thank you everyone for joining us on this wonderful occasion. And also, we request everyone to fill the feedback form, which has been raised in the form of polls, and continue to attend. Those who are attending this entire week will be provided with 1 week certificate of GS Day as well as Geographic Week celebration. So keep attending daily at 6 o'clock with the same link. Take care. Good night.